Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Dylan Green, the president of the Livonia Republican Club. We have a very special guest with us here today, State Senator Kowall. If you wanted to start with opening remarks, introduce yourself to the group, give us some background about you.
Sure. Again, my name's Mike Kowall. I'm currently the senator from the 15th Senate District, which is primarily Oakland County and the Oakland County side of Northville. I'm also the Senate Majority Floor Leader, so it's my job to herd 38 cats on the Senate floor, which sometimes is a very unique responsibility to keep everybody in line. I sit on a variety of committees. Government oversight is probably the biggest one right now that there's a lot of issues going through. But I did chair economic development the last term. And when we came into office, we had our first meeting with Governor Snyder at the time, and he said, we have enough money to run the state for 35 minutes. That's what Jennifer Granholm left us. So he looked at me and he said, so what are we going to do, Mike? What are we going to do to help get this state back on track? So we went to work and we did some pretty interesting things with economic development. One of which I'm very proud of is that's the research and development on the autonomous vehicle platform that's going on here in Michigan. We're seeing a lot of activity out at the old Willow Run plant with the onset for the Center for Mobility out there. Michigan's now number one in the not only in the region, but we're number one throughout the United States. And I was just told not too long ago that we're number one in the world for research and development. There's so much traffic between Detroit and San Francisco that they've had to add flights to get engineers back and forth, which is really exciting because now we're seeing people move back into this area, whereas we were seeing our kids and grandkids move away. One of my daughters moved to California, and I'm hoping to get her back here soon too. But the whole country's kind of in the same position that Michigan was in a few years ago. And there's an opportunity here to kind of readjust. I'm going to bounce back and forth between Michigan and how it affects the country. But when Granholm was governor, she pretty much closed the state for remodeling, and it didn't work. One thing that Governor Snyder has done is he's left the state open during his remodeling process that he's doing. So we're excited to see some of the changes that are taking place. There's a long list of regulations and rules that have been lifted and changed. This federal tax change, it's played enormously into the economy of our state. We're seeing companies, hiring people again. We're seeing companies giving bonus. They're expanding. They're buying equipment. And this is what has to happen in order for us to grow. There's things that the administration in Washington is doing that I question, much the same, I'm sure, as all of you have done too. But at the same time, as long as we're moving in a forward direction, we're focusing on education heavily and skilled trades. I'm a carpenter by trade. I didn't go to college to become a politician or get involved in politics at all. I was running our family's construction company. I did that for 38 years. And we kept seeing a steady decline of young people wanting to get involved in the skilled trades. We were losing carpenters, plumbers, electricians, pipe fitters. And the educators, and God bless them, but they're pushing all kids into a 4-year degree. And not everybody's geared for a 4-year degree, be it in law or anything else. It's just not for everyone. So we're seeing where we can push kids into a 2-year program, get them a certificate. They get paid as they learn. They walk out and walk into jobs that they can start at $85,000 a year, like a welder, and they can make a really fine living out of it. And I'll leave you with one quick story. we were over at Oakland Community College, and we were interviewing students, and there was one young lady sitting with the governor, and she was extremely well, just very well groomed, very well put together, had the fingernails, she was just a very nice young lady. And we're talking about skilled trades, and I was why is she on the stage? And the governor introduced her, and she got up, and she walked up to the microphone. She was holding a steel block, about 2 inches by 2 inches. And she held it up, and she said, "This was my final project for me to get my certificate in machine tool operation." And she said, "This is perfect. It came out of a raw casting, and I made it perfectly square." And she said, along with learning a lot of other things, I'm starting machine tool operations at a machine shop in New Baltimore, and my starting pay was $86,000 a year. She was 22 years old and had no direction until somebody finally said to her, "Hey, look, why don't you try this?" And she did, and the last I've heard, she's really doing well and making even more money than that right now. So I'm encouraging young ladies to get involved in the skilled trades too. It's not just an all-guy thing. I've known women elevator installers and riggers that have been doing that for years, and they've done very, very well. And I want everybody to remember too, who built all the bombers at the Willow Run plant? Who built all the armament? Who did all the work for the military war machine when all the men were out fighting? It was women.
John Walsh, our former state representative, was just on Off the Record with Tim Skubic this past Friday. It'll air again this Sunday, but you could also go to www.wkar.org and watch John Walsh on the latest edition of Off the Record. So that's it. I'd like to thank you all for coming.